Hello and welcome to What's Next Wall Street. I am Georgia Alfredes.
And I am the Dave Matthews. Now, this is a show about stocks, crypto, and the new decentralized financial Web3 world around us.
I've got details on all the hot new trending products that everybody's talking about, using and investing in. And today, I am talking about Victoria's Secret. Calm down. It is not what you think.
It is what I think. And I'm going to talk about the other NFT collections that are being snatched up by those creators, Yuga Labs, who had the great success with Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is so meta, it hurts.
We've got Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com, as our expert. Greg charts a lot of these companies that we talk about, and those chart indicators can show where a particular stock is headed so that it's easier to target investment potential. So what Greg does is he combines technical analysis with fundamental knowledge, and he teaches us a lot.
Yep. And our goal is to help you become a more informed trader with a tailored trade plan so that you can stay up to speed with what's next on Wall Street and keep stacking your financial gains.
That's right. You can email us at OptionsPlayers.com, or you can hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street with your questions. We can also direct you to instructors and experts over at OptionsPlayers.com who dig into trading fundamentals.
Now, you can watch this episode on the Options Players YouTube channel or listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Listen, whether you're listening, whether you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the alert button so that you always know what's next on Wall Street. And if you like it, give us 5 stars. If you don't,
Ding.
Do nothing. If you don't like it, just, Our hearts are with the Ukrainians right now, and also the Russians who are stuck and may not even understand Putin's regime. This war is affecting so many lives, and it's just really sad. I think a lot of us who buy and invest with our conscience, like me, have a really hard time supporting companies that have not pulled out of Russia. Some of these companies, though, say their hands are tied. Restaurant Brands International, which owns Burger King, says they want to leave Russia, but because of the terms of their existing joint venture agreement, they simply cannot right now. RBI says their partners in Russia, who control 75% of Russian business, is reportedly refusing to shut down Russian Burger Kings. Meanwhile, since McDonald's owns over 84% actually, of their restaurants in Russia outright, their exit from the country was relatively quick and painless. After being in Russia for 31 years, McDonald's was able to put humanitarian concerns above shareholder profits.
Yeah, and Georgia, did you see this tweet from Anonymous? So it echoes that sentiment. The press release calls on companies that continue to operate in Russia by paying taxes to the Kremlin's criminal regime to pull out of Russia. The tweet names all the companies with a pretty compelling visual. Those of you listening to the podcast will have to check it out when you get a chance on our YouTube page. But there's some well-known American companies there: Subway, Marriott, Papa John's, Dunkin' Donuts, Citibank. The list goes on and on. Russia in 2022 is mimicking Cuba of 1962 after the Bay of Pigs incident. Enter the great brain drain from Russia as 30,000 Russians pass through Georgia on their way to Turkey or other locations, while 12,000 have rehomed in Georgia, leaving their country, as they say, until Putin's regime is over. Blows my mind. Now, this is an easy country, that is Georgia, not this Georgia, for them to enter, as they have no extradition treaty, and they allow 95 countries to enter without a visa. Wow. But the locals aren't a fan of having citizens of Russia there. Why is that, you ask?
Why is that?
Well, back in 2008, Russia invaded Georgia, where they still control a fifth of the territory through 2 successionist states, very similarly to what the Russians were doing controlling the Donbass eastern region of Ukraine.
Do we see a pattern with Putin here?
Right. And my friends this was the toe in the door. Mm-hmm. And this is the way he was able to cram the special military operation, which is devastating the formerly beautiful Ukrainian cities. If his dream to bring the USSR back isn't petty Putin's most single act of modern-day Napoleon syndrome, I don't know what is. All right, on a lighter note, today's pro tip is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. Now, if you want to live off market gains, then you need to live in the market. Success takes effort and understanding. It doesn't come from osmosis, as much as I wish. Traders that submerge themselves with different tools and systems fare much better than traders that show up to work unprepared. Make sure you're scanning headlines and price target news daily because the market substantially reacts to these things. OptionsPlayers.com sends out a daily email called the OP Wire that includes current market news, analysis, upgrades, and downgrades, plus trade plans and targets. There's a lot of noise out there, but Options Players streamlines its daily news content to make pre-market planning easier. Be sure and add the OP Wire to your daily regimen, and we hope this helps you stack and protect.
So this is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, comment on our YouTube page, or email us at WW@OptionsPlayers.com. This first question comes from Julie from Options Players YouTube page. Julie wants to know the best ticker to trade for scalping. Greg, you here?
I am, once I unmute myself or someone unmutes me over there. All right, so yeah, so what is the best ticker for scalping? There's not a particular one for scalping. Now you have some, say if you're scalping options, it'll be a little bit different, but it all comes down to volatility. Is there enough buying and selling on both sides for you to get in and, scalp? So if there's very low volume, most likely not the best case one. You can do this by looking at your scanner on your broker platform and just go in and type in whatever you want. So like 2 million in volume every hour or whatever it is you think volatility is, and you'll find it. For options, there's about 50 that have enough volume to scalp. Easiest way is to go in that same scanner, look for options that have at least 2,000 every day, and you'll be able to scalp that also. As long as you're not trying to scalp millions of dollars, you'll be able to scalp almost anything.
So Greg, we're not going to like the Ameritrade search box and doing this. So when you say just type it in, what magic site are you going to?
Oh, not Google?
No, you can go. I mean, if you're on Ameritrade, you should be using Thinkorswim. Go on to Thinkorswim, go to the scan tool, and I don't have it open on my computer or I would show you, but you can go to the scan part and then in there, you can go to options, click that, and then down there to say options volume, and then you can say the min max. So you can say anything that has more than 10,000 purchases of contracts, and then hit execute, and it'll show you. Now just narrow that down until it's like the top 50, and those will be the ones that are volatile enough to trade. You're also going to know them. They're going to be Apple. They're going like all the big name ones, Tesla, things like that. Now you might not get like Amazon and things like that. And the reason why is the price of those options are way more expensive because the stock is more expensive. So just keep that in mind, that some might have the liquidity, but they're much more expensive. So they don't sell as much. You got to watch out. So instead of buying 10 contracts of Apple, you're only buying one contract of, say, Amazon. So the volume might need to be adjusted a little bit to pick up Amazon or some of the other ones. But other than that, it's right there. And in most brokerage thing, you can scan for high volatility, and that's all you need.
Hey, Greg, GameStop was up 30% this week. I bet GameStop's in there. Do we know why that had another hit?
I haven't even looked at GameStop. But what's really came out, I'm trying to think of why GameStop will be up. I did not look, so I'm not going to.
Sure, it's just some Reddit chatter.
Probably. But real quickly, Greg, do you teach a scalping class over at Options Players?
Do I do what?
Do you teach a scalping class at Options Players?
I do teach a scalping class. It's what the sauce is based upon. It's a momentum class. So basically, it's using a 2-minute chart to pick up momentum and retraces of, reactions in the market.
Okay.
That's
very cool.
All
That's
right,
where you get to learn the magic from Greg. Hey, we got another one. This next email comes from Blake in Toledo. Is that your Blake?
No, he's not in Toledo. He's in Texas, though.
Well, he asks, why are Bitcoin and Ethereum way up? Well, this has to do with Ethereum going green with their fork of proof of stake versus the power-hungry proof of work. And Biden and his administration were soft on the upcoming tax legislation for those holding cryptocurrency. All in, we are seeing big gains in both currencies. So I hope that you bought on the dip. But if not, don't worry. It's going to go back down again and then up again.
And then down again. Listen, if you've got a question, we can answer it, or we'll find someone else who can. So hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, or in the comments section of our YouTube page, or email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com with your questions or comments.
Okay, so Yuga Labs has created one of the most influential NFT collections around their Bored Ape project. If you want to learn more about that, check out our prior December 2021 show where we interviewed the artist Angela Fabry, who bought a pink ape NFT, which came with the IP or intellectual property rights, and she's creating both painted art as well as wearable merchandise on her site, pinkape.io. She's really molding that NFT into her own style for fun, and we hope profit.
Yes.
But the purpose of this story is to talk about the consolidation we're seeing in the NFT space, and maybe the root cause. And the irony of Web3, which was touted as a decentralized new world. So because of money, it's being rolled up and centralized. But I digress. The team from Yuga Labs is snatching up the rights to other famous NFT projects like CryptoPunks and MeBits from Larva Labs. Now, the punks, of which Georgia and I have our own versions of these for our avatars on social media, they're so bad, but they're good.
No, that looks just like me, too. The hair is all me.
So the CryptoPunks are one of the oldest and most valuable brands in the NFT world. And MeBits joined the list of most valuable NFT collections once they launched in May of 2021, so a little under a year ago. So the Bored Ape Yacht Club teased their new drop called Other Side by showing a digital short that begins with the BAYC, which is the nickname for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, an ape fishing, and then he raises his catch, nabs onto a bottle labeled Drink Me, and this glowing concoction is a throw to the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, which is an extension of the brand. You gotta love a sequel, right? So the ape gulps it down before he notices it says, "Don't drink me," and takes an acid trip with a flying demon.
I love it.
An NBD. So here comes the demon, and
I love this play-by-play, by the way.
He's lighting up a cigar. Yep. So he's Lucy in the Sky Diamonds, and he sees references to the NFT collections of Mutant Ape Yacht Club, Cool Cats, CryptoPunks, Crypto Toads, MeBits, Nouns, and World of Women. Have you even heard of any of these, Georgia?
No. But I'm so engrossed in this cartoon. This is like me watching an animated film with my kids.
Look at that demon. Wow.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that Other Side will be a metaverse play where you can flaunt your digital possessions, and with the rendering that they showed, we expect it to be a high-quality 3D space. That's because we got another announcement of a 3D gaming experience powered by Anna Mocha, who raised $88,888,888. Nerds. With a valuation of $1 billion. But wait, there's more. In Steve Jobs fashion, another organization dropped a DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization, known as ApeCoin, for the holders of the apes.
Oh my gosh.
Because, of course. So let's keep driving this franchise harder and expanding it while others are doing rug pulls. Do you know that term, Georgia?
I think it's when you pull a rug out from under someone, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Easy for you to say.
So it's when you buy into a coin or an NFT, and then the founders and early buyers take the money and run. Peace out.
Wow. Ooh, take the money and run.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
So this is just like Elon on Saturday Night Live said.
It's a hustle, okay?
Exactly.
Yes.
But I got to give Yuga Labs credit. This franchise could be the Gen Z version of American Express Platinum Card. It's everywhere they want to be. And they keep growing the digital world that they operate in. With the number of people buying in as the franchise grows, this is definitely a ticket to watch, or better yet, buy into. You can head to the website somethingisbrewing.xyz if you want to register for the ApeCoin drop, and head over to OpenSea.io if you're into any of the NFTs I mentioned above.
Oh, good luck buying one.
Yeah, good luck. They're expensive now.
All right, so everybody knows I have a bleeding heart. Dave was watching the news about Russia, and we came in, I was like, I can't see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. There's arguments all the time in my house. I tell my husband, no, honey, we can't buy that. They test on animals. It's not organic. They're polluting the ozone. The company is not diverse. There's not a woman or a person of color on the board, et cetera, et cetera. But if you knew my husband, Dave, you'd understand that I have to lean so far this way just so we can come together in the middle. It really is. I'm the sole moral majority in my family. But enough about that. Let's talk about something you guys really want to hear about. Victoria's Secret.
Finally, you have my attention. All that bleeding heart.
I know. There's a tie-in. Okay. All right. So Ohio-based Victoria's Secret is launching a new program to help increase women's business ownership opportunities. CUVS. Okay. Now this makes perfect sense. Now the company announced a multi-million-dollar investment in an initiative with Amplify Her. Get it? Amplify Her Ventures to provide female entrepreneurs with greater access to lending capital. Financial experts say only 2% of venture capital dollars were secured by women-led businesses last year. But listen to this. Those companies generated twice as much revenue as male-led operations. So Victoria's Secret is continuing to rebrand after it split from L Brands last year. And just because I'm a woman who also happens to be a minority, I go out and I search for companies led by people like me. I want to invest in companies that cater to, care about, and invest in women. I'm a huge fan of companies like Eventbrite, Stitch Fix, Rent the Runway, Nextdoor, iRobot, Care.com, Amplify Snacks. I use all these. And of course, Urban One, my other job. Urban One was founded by a Black single mom named Kathy Hughes. This is a great story. She was told no 32 times by banks when she was trying to buy a radio station in DC. That 33rd bank hit the jackpot because her company is now the largest African-American owned broadcasting company in the U.S. Urban One also owns TV One, but there's a theme here. These women saw a need and they filled it. I mean, I use or have used every single one of these companies. I even work for one of them. My question to you, Greg, is does the fact that many women-led companies, the fact that they're generating twice as much revenue as male-led companies, does that resonate with investors?
No, not at all. And I'll tell you why.
Great. Fantastic.
Number one, it's not twice the revenue, okay? It's about 9% more revenue, but they do it with only half of the amount invested. All right, so I know what studies you're talking about. We study this all the time. So say the average male company gets 2 million invested. It's actually 2.12, I think. The average female invested company only gets about 900K invested into it. But then the female's company will make about 730K revenue, while the male one would only make about 662K. I think those are very, very close, within $1,000.
Yeah, but they got twice as much. Yeah. They got twice as much investment.
But so the revenue isn't twice as much, but they're doing it with less. But Here's the reason why. All right, and it is 100% sexism, 100%. All right, in every business class you ever take, you're going to learn that diversity is important. It's kind of common sense. I'm trying to sell to as many people as possible.
That's right.
I am a white, middle-aged man. What do I understand? I understand white, middle-aged men. If my wife understands women, my kid understands youth, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
If they're all in the company, then of course we can relate to our consumers. So being diverse helps, but that's not really why females do better. They do better
because we're smarter. I'm sorry, go on. You were saying.
It has nothing to do with that.
I digress.
Okay. They do better because the people loaning them money don't give it to them as easy. Men, this is the one difference.
You are really telling the truth here. Let's go, Greg.
So
okay.
The one difference between a man and a woman when it comes to going to a VC, right? I hear this all the time. I see it when I interview people. All right. So if I'm a male, I'm going to use this as an analogy. I went fishing. I caught a fish this big, right? We all know that fish was really only this big, right?
Yes.
The female goes fishing. She comes in and says, I caught a fish this big.
Yeah.
The fish was this big. You understand? So when they're doing their presentations to the VC, males are much more likely to make bold predictions and assumptions and just completely, oversell
it's the big
everything
fish story.
they're doing,
I'm
right?
very much guilty of this. Yeah.
Yes. And
fish is
women, on
huge.
contrast, are much more conservative. They're like, hey, we can get to this. They're just more protective. And that's a good thing, especially in a startup, because you're not taking on too much money. You're not doing all this. So that's how they're basically doing the same thing as the males are, but with not as much money because they're more conservative. And that often is much better for a new company. Now, once again, it comes back to now this isn't all, so this is going to be a little sexism, but what do most female companies revolve around? Female products or
That's right.
things that other female want. I mean,
Yes.
it's natural. If I start a company, I'm not going to start one about makeup per se, right?
Right.
So with over 90-something% of the VCs being men, and some woman comes and presents her product to me, I don't know that market. I don't know what she's talking about, right? So I'm not as inclined to give the money, right? So now you got two instances. One, the female's not overselling it. Number two, the male VCs have no idea what the hell she's pitching. And now three, here comes the sexism part of it. Say if it's a technology, okay? I don't see this too much because I'm more in the finance side and real different sectors, but maybe Dave can break in. When females get questioned, they give a presentation, they will actually get asked, how do they do this? Or do they know how to do it? Do they understand the tech? They're the founder of the company. Of course they understand the tech, you idiot. But the males will actually question that. And that is a huge thing. My MBA is a lot into HRC. So these are things that we yell at the managers for doing, but they still do it. It's in it, right? So diversity wins. It's not that men are smarter or female are smarter. It does come back to females are a little bit more
honest,
conservative.
yeah,
Okay?
honest,
100%.
Unless you're Elizabeth Holmes with Theranos, she.
unless
There is that.
you're Elizabeth Holmes,
There is that.
But the actual, I know the study that they did, it did not include Elizabeth Holmes' company
Okay.
because of the fraud that got it taken out. Okay.
All right.
But, she didn't make any revenue either. Right. But on the things you're talking about, for every dollar made, okay, for every dollar of funding, females are bringing in about 78% in revenue, 78 cents in revenue. And every dollar funded to a male only brings in 31 cents.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is because you could have this crappy company and they're going to fund it because you're a male. And if you're a female, you're going to hear all those no's. It's going to have to be perfect to get your money.
Wow.
Is that right? Probably is.
So this-
it probably is. They're doing it fair to the females and they're just letting all the dudes get in, I guess. Probably whatever.
But if you think about
that's
it, most of the VCs, they're males that have been successful with tech companies. If we're talking about Silicon Valley, and watching the show Silicon Valley gave me so much PTSD for living out there for a dozen years, pitching companies to VCs. And I've had a half a dozen companies that I've been in the pitches with, or a dozen companies that I've been advising to. And I tell all my advisees, keep pitching, keep pitching, keep pitching. You're going to get a lot of doors closed. And George's example of Media
Kathy
One,
Hughes.
Kathy, just unbelievable. 33rd was the right
Who
one.
would continue after the first 5 and then 10 and then 20? Surely you would be like, you know what? I'm done. 32 banks said no.
And another fact and another statistic to this is males often get into businesses for a completely different reason than females. A lot of females are more, like you said, you were the moral compass in your family. Let's just say that CRM, or you're talking about your corporate responsibility or your corporate social responsibility. Females are more to that. So when a female starts a company, they normally maintain that company and their end state is to control the company and continue. Well, a lot of the males is to grow that company to a certain amount of users or a certain amount of sales and then sell it off. So males are much more monetary than the females are more about actually doing the business.
Right.
You know
Community
what I'm saying?
and creating something. Yes.
So
What
a lot
I've
of
found
times
in
the
the-
males don't even want to make the revenue. They want whatever is going to bump up the evaluation, which might not be revenue, especially in tech. It could be end users or daily users. Pump that up to sell it off.
And what I found in the Silicon Valley per se, and even our favorite entrepreneur on this show, Elon Musk, right? He did a payment company that was bought by PayPal and then bought by eBay. He made his money, and then he went after passion projects like leaving the Earth with SpaceX and digging tunnels like the Boring Company and those silly electric cars that are now
Silly
competing
electric cars.
with everybody, Tesla. So what's cool is watching these people that have been successful in their 20s and 30s go out over more heart-led projects in their 40s and 50s. So there you go, bleeding heart. Even some of the males have it as well. So we want to thank the lead instructor at Options Players, Greg Krause, for keeping it real. Always.
Yes, always. Hey, remember, if you've got questions, we can try to help you answer them. And we'd love to hear from you. So do us a favor, email us at WW@OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street.
You can, of course, watch episodes of What's Next Wall Street on the Options Players YouTube page or listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you subscribe, hit the alert button, and you'll get current trending info as soon as it drops. I'm Dave Matthews.
And I'm George Alfredas. See you next time on What's Next Wall Street.
Bye, y'all.